Right, let's try to make this clip shorter than the last one, if only so my throat has a bit of a break. At least we're starting this clip off with full ammo, not that it's particularly comforting. After all, it's not like I'm using those missiles on hostiles so far. For some reason, I thought there was something to scan in the green water there. Doesn't look like we have any way to get to the other side of this little acid lake from here at the moment. At least not unless we gain some way to jump, or I'm not seeing something. Right, even more suicidal bats. Again, really didn't question that much the rationale behind the creatures attacking us in the 2D games. Anyway, I'm sure that message was probably meant to feel informative to whoever was reading it, but unfortunately the Chozo seemed to have a more cryptic writing style. Seriously, does that mean whatever is making the water toxic wants to keep rising up? Is it somehow similar to emulsion from Gears of War? Or is there some other explanation that goes with the whole trying to seek the sun thing? The poison is in the core of the planet itself. Guess that explains why the pirates decided to come here. It's quite the trait of theirs that they love trying to harness something absolutely hazardous for their own ends. Well, it's about time we found some local plant life that evolved to deal with the more hazardous environment. Just how long has the water been like this anyway? I know based on some of the wall writings that it apparently started happening before the Chozo ceased to exist here, but just about everything about them is vague as hell. For God's sakes, it wasn't until this very game was released that we knew that the Chozo as a whole considered Samus to be an extension of their legacy. All we knew before was that her armor was made by them, they raised her for a decent section of her life after the pirates killed her human family, and they created Mother Brain, which turned out to be a horrible idea. Brilliant. I went to grab a healing items we didn't need and ended up getting smacked into the acid for my trouble. What was I thinking? Anyway, as I was saying before, the Metroid Prime games gave us a lot more information about the Chozo to work with, since before Fusion, there was little to no in-game storytelling that was all that specific. And while some of the lore from the Prime game kind of clashes with a bit of the lore for Dread, it's not all that bad, after all. I'm willing to believe that the Chozo were divided into multiple different tribes. It would help explain the supposedly benevolent and peaceful people who, for some reason, had weapons and left behind so many deadly defenses on the planet they abandoned for various reasons. The tribe that wrote things on the planet Talon might know what was happening to the tribe on the planet of Zebes, but that doesn't mean they were all that active in the participation for raising Samus or creating Mother Brain. They possibly feared Ravenbeak's tribe, and might not have known all that much detail about the tribe that was working on the Metroids and what they were doing. It doesn't even clash with the whole Space Elves theme, since the Eldar from Warhammer 40k and Protoss from StarCraft also had some tribal differences, though for some reason I kind of felt like the Protoss and StarCraft didn't share quite as much tribal divide while still being part of the same whole as it felt like what I thought they would have in the first StarCraft. But maybe that's just a case of me imagining things differently, because the first game didn't have the ability to show all that much detail with that particular storytelling limitation and all that. I should probably get back to talking about this game rather than space elves in general. Not that there's really all that much to say right now, since I'm just trying to find a fourth rune in this room to open the gate. Well, there are more of those eye sentry things on the other side of the gate. That's vaguely interesting. Though now I can't help chuckling at the fact that the eye door things from the 2D games, such a staple of the series, didn't get any equivalent in the 3D part of the series. At least as far as I remember. Is that because that kind of door barrier felt a bit mean when Samus doesn't quite jump as high in these games as the other format? Or did they think that that kind of enemy was outright impossible to justify, considering we would be able to scan it in this version? Well, that looks promising. And that does it. We've scanned all the runes and opened the door. Now to find out what was back there. So another bit of lore in what looks like an upgrade. Well, I'd certainly consider the charge beam a major upgrade, especially in this game since it lets us draw in distant items. So an asteroid struck the planet at some point. So there was something contained in the meteor that started making the place more deadly than whatever it was like before. Something that ended up in the core of the planet and wants to rise up from there. Kinda getting a Final Fantasy VII vibe from the whole calamity from the skies thing. But let's save thoughts of dealing with Final Fantasy VII for after I'm done with the Metroid Prime trilogy at the very least. Well, that certainly looks like it could be more troublesome to just sneak around the lasers than the hallway earlier on. Apparently the hit doesn't even need to be direct to damage these things. I definitely like the numerous things they did to help make the charge beam more useful in these games, so I can't help finding it funny that the missiles lost a hell of a lot of importance when the power beam and charge beam got improvements for the 3D section of the series. Anyway, I'm going to assume that little tunnel needs the bombs to open up, so let's get moving. Excuse me while I start fast-forwarding for a bit, at least until it looks like I've found something else that's kinda new. Okay, how did I not notice these jump points before? It's not like it was hidden. Oh, well, at least it didn't take me long to figure out where to go next, coming from the other door. Wait, so one bit of writing on the wall says the corruption is coming from the planet's core, and another bit says it's above us? Are there two separate sources for the poison? Or is there something worse than the poison later on? I wouldn't be surprised surprised by the second, but still, the Chozo really aren't very clear when they write their various warnings on the wall, which kind of undermines the idea of writing warnings on your walls. For some reason, I thought there might be a platform over there. And just what is the function of those cylinders? Probably not all that important, but still, I'm kind of curious. But then I'm curious about absolutely everything around here now. Hence all the scanning. Well, they aren't destructible, at least as far as I can tell, so they're probably just another bit of background. Definitely feels like there's a bit of a higher level of thought that I put into things around here compared to the 2D games. In 2D, it's just a matter of can I grab it or destroy it. In 3D, it's scan, destroy, and grab. Still not all that complicated, but it's a step up. Right! More little tunnels that are meant for the morph ball. Hoping that means that the bomb upgrade is soon, but then I always hope that the next upgrade is soon in pretty much every clip of every Metroid game. Secure the area. Probably means kill all the hostiles around. Pretty often I do that without prompting anyway. Right. No way I'm making progress through that acid unless we get an armor upgrade or something. Well, at least that morph ball tunnel isn't blocked. And now we've got an outright creature that can't be killed unless we use the bombs. Been a long time since we let ourselves get swallowed just to do some damage to a creature, and I somehow doubt there's gonna be too many other of these toads spread across the game. Okay, what prompted a cutscene this time? So we've got another random device that wants us dead and another hive of bugs to deal with. This game seems to have a thing against bugs for some reason, or at the very least the first section does. This thing is trying to kill us right now, and it wasn't even designed to be used in combat. I'm sorry, but part of me can't help feeling a bit insulted by that. So, the gimmick here is to just make the flamethrower blast flames into the bug hive above. At least this time, the idea of the bugs charging after us as we attack the randomly aggressive device makes a bit more sense than last time. Still kind of feels like a less impressive use of something we've already seen so far, though. Okay, I picked a bad spot to stand here. pretty embarrassing considering the kind of fight this is, but still amusing in its own right. Though I somehow doubt that Samus is amused by us getting boiled in her own soup needlessly like that. Oh dear. Definitely getting a bad feeling about what's in store for us in Metroid Prime 2. Because of this fight. And we aren't even to the halfway point of the first game yet. And that does it! At least I didn't manage to lose an outright energy tank in my screw-ups there. That would have been downright humiliating. So destroying something that was a spinning flamethrower somehow got us the bomb. Apparently the enemies that hold upgrades just don't have a distinct theme to go with the upgrade they're holding. Of course, I'm also noticing a lot more distinctive encounters for us to deal with around here than the other planets we've been able to go through the series so far. Nothing I would call challenging just yet, but certainly a good variety of encounters so far, though, again, the, missile boss and this one kind of felt pretty samey. I'm kind of thankful we didn't get that task accomplished jingle right here. Now that we've grabbed everything from this little corner, we should probably start fast forwarding a bit again. Yeah, nothing else in here. Wait, there's a temporary barrier inside the tunnel? Why? I thought the doors in each room were the excuse for the game to load things for the next room. It's not that big of an issue, but it still kind of caught me off guard here. And it's not like we can use the scanner while in morph ball form to get an in-universe explanation for that little barrier. We certainly get a solid enough explanation for how our bombs activate devices, even if we don't really have any great explanations for why these kinds of morph ball slots are in both the ruins and the pirate-owned locations. Definitely an unintended consequence of giving us the scanner. Sure, it explained things that hadn't been explained before in the series and really helps expand our understanding of the world around us. But on the other hand, I just end up wanting explanations for absolutely everything, including the stuff that outright does not need explanation at all. I should know that we have only a set amount of time before the way we opened up with this device will become inaccessible again, but I end up wanting to scan anyway instead of hurrying to the newly opened area that's currently free of acid. It's probably more my fault that I don't have a sense of urgency than the game wants, but still, it felt worth mentioning. Apparently I cut that way too close and failed by just less than a second from getting the job done. Holy shit! Samus should be screaming in my ear after that level of stupidity on my part. Sorry about that. We may be able to turn into a ball, but it certainly doesn't feel like I'm on the ball in this particular recording session. Hopefully, there's a save point that I will use soon, because holy shit, that could have easily gone a lot worse. And while nothing we've gone through so far is what I would consider difficult, I'd still prefer not to have to go through the previous 20 minutes all over again. I would prefer to keep moving forward if at all possible. Anyway, let's try that again, only without taking a rather extended acid bath. definitely a shorter path. Not sure why we need to see a second pump here, though I do appreciate seeing a pair of platforms raise up. Shouldn't be too dangerous to set off this next device if the timer runs out too early or something. So that raises up some more platforms and unlocks that door, though I can't help wondering why that door was locked like that if we weren't able to reach it anyway with what we've got at the moment. I guess they just had a different design philosophy in general for the 3D games, since the 2D ones, you were encouraged to come up with exploits to get the things potentially out of order. Not that I was skilled enough to ever pull that off. Well, that striped thing on the wall is certainly going to be important at some point later on. And those creatures in the background kind of have me on edge, even if we've proven to be pretty durable and powerful compared to everything else we've run into on the planet so far. Hell, those might even be the cries of creatures we've already killed numerous of. Okay, nothing more we can do about this direction for now. Whatever's making those noises is outside our reach at the moment. I guess we'll come back when we have a means to open that white door we didn't even get the chance to see, along with use that striped thing on the wall. Excuse me, just going to fall back to a save point now. At least it won't take long to get to the nearest save point. Doesn't matter if we can destroy it if we can't reach it just yet.